Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and early 4 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, a little bit of a different video today. I didn't want to talk about this at first because it has to do with sexual assault and my monetizing. I didn't know how much more I could really add to the story without getting seriously angry. It doesn't have a lot to do with politics. I looked up this has to do with the judge's ruling. I did a lot of investigating trying to find out if it had anything to do with politics. This judge's ruling. I tried to see if he was Republican. There's a lot of anger towards Democrats for being soft on crime, but conversely, there's a lot of criticism towards Republicans with letting young men off on sexual assault crimes in this whole involuntary celibate thing. And, women shouldn't parade around, shouldn't tease men. So, I mean, it could go either way. If this was a Republican judge, he was going along with that whole thing. Or if it was a Democrat judge, he was letting somebody off easy on crime. And to be honest with you guys, for the life of me, I have no idea. I haven't the slightest clue if this guy is Democrat or Republican, how he votes or whatever. He's not on social media. I'll get into that in a second. Let me give you the background of the story here. Okay, it was a party, I think it was about 2 years ago, underage party. God knows, I started drinking when I was probably 14. I've been through all this stuff. I think most young people do. They get their first experiences with alcohol. A lot of us do. You drink too much, you have some seriously bad effects. And sometimes a lot of times it's a lot worse for women because they are the weaker sex. And because there's men out there that are less than scrupulous, they're less than gentlemen. That's a serious understatement. All right, let me just get into the story here. Underage party, Illinois. 16-year-old girl. I gotta have her name, but I don't feel right even saying her name. There's no point in saying her name. She was 16 years old at the time. Now, allegedly, there was girls swimming in the pool. There was no bathing suits available. They swam in their underwear. Back when I was a kid, we did this. Skinny dipping, pool hopping, we used to call it. Teenage guys and girls all in the car, buck naked, jumping into people's pools while they're sleeping inside the house, from one pool to the next pool to the next pool, across fences, buck naked, and there was a young man there now, Drew Clinton, 18 years old. So eventually, this 16-year-old girl found herself she found herself in her friend's house, with a pillow being stuffed in her face, and she's being sexually assaulted by Drew Clinton. She was 16, he's 18 years old, considered a grown man. And even if he wasn't a grown man, he should have been raised better, should know better than this. Anyway, she says she was able to push him off, and he just jumped up and started playing video games, but he had penetrated her. There is no contest to the fact that she was 16 years old, that this sexual assault happened. These are facts in this case. Okay, so it goes before the judge. Before the judge back in May of 21, about 8 or 9 months ago. He pretty much has Judge Robert Adrian. Now this, I tried to find out if he was Republican or Democrat, like I was saying before, and I can't. I have no idea. So that's off the table. Of course, being a Democrat, I get the feeling that he's a Republican. But anyway, he finds Drew Clinton guilty, as he pretty much has to. Now it comes to sentencing on January 3rd. And the mandatory sentence for Drew Clinton, minimum mandatory, is 4 years in prison. He's already done 5 months in county lockup. So the judge, having to give, he goes back, he throws out his previous conviction so he does not have to give Drew Clinton 4 years, because he says it's just not right sending this kid, this teenager, he calls him, I watched that very carefully, he calls him, doesn't call him a minor or a kid, or he calls him a teenager, which he is, but he's a grown man. And so he doesn't have to serve, he's let free. That's it. And there's quite a bit of anger about this. Let me tell you this, if this was my sister, let me tell you, I would have made it my life's mission, regardless of whatever happened to me, to end this guy. I wouldn't have taken this lightly if this was if I knew this girl. Okay, then in the following day or two, another prosecutor comes in front of him and it's another case. He throws this prosecutor out of court because he says, even though he's not on Facebook or social media, his wife is. And his wife saw that this attorney, this prosecutor, gave a thumbs up to a comment on Facebook criticizing the judge for this case. He liked a comment. This prosecutor liked a comment on Facebook criticizing the judge, which the judge deserves. And last I checked, we have free speech here. But the judge says, I can't be fair with him. Get out of my courtroom. He throws him out of the courtroom. And that's where we're at. That's where we're at today. He went on. This judge went on to say that he pretty much blamed the parents. I'm kind of paraphrasing here. I'll have the links as usual. I'll have the links in the articles all below, so you guys can see exactly what he said. But he said this is what happens when parents don't take their responsibilities seriously. They have teenagers with alcohol, and he even he said this. He said when you have girls swimming in their underwear, and no, underwear is not like bathing suits, then this is what happens. So he's blaming it on the parents. I'm not saying that the parents aren't completely devoid of any of the responsibility here, but what he's basically saying is, hey, this kid did a few months. The minimum mandatory is 4 years. Nowhere even close to the just 5 months he did in county. And that's enough for this 18-year-old. He says he's not going to send this guy to prison. I won't do that. So let me kind of, in my opinion here, this judge is saying, this poor guy suffered enough. After these despicable parents, you'll let these girls run around and bounce around, and this poor guy sees this. How can he control? He's a man. He can't be responsible. And then she can't hold her liquor. She passes out. And what's a guy to do? She's asking for it here. Oh God. If there is any karma in this world, which I truly believe in, what comes around goes around. What goes around comes around. I can never get that right. I pictured this because Drew Clinton now is free. Maybe he's going to go on to college. Maybe he finds himself at a party. Or maybe, I don't know if the judge has any kids, but maybe this happens to the judge's kids. Like I said, karma. So say good old Drew Clinton now, he's at college. Gets a good buzz on. He's prancing around at a party with his buds. He passes out. But let's just say, hey, there are people of different sexual orientations. Say there's a clique from the football team and they're homosexual guys. No problem. But say, he's prancing around in front of them, kind of teasing them, and he passes out. I'd have to say he's going to have, he'd have it coming if he passes out inside. And this bunch of football players, what are they to do? He was prancing around looking good. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. I don't know if that applies here, but all right. hopefully, I think another judge is looking. There's an article where another judge from Illinois has gone to this district to look into this case. I don't know if that sounds promising or not. This is disgusting. If I were the father of this girl, I can't imagine the girl came forward and told the truth and told what happened to her, which is traumatizing in itself. And she's pretty much blamed for the incident. I'm appalled at this whole story. Let me know what you guys think. All right, you guys have a good Thursday. I'll be back later with another video.